Here we go. Well, but they are, think of it as just a super Excel, extra features. Do you remember what we said about databases? Why we use databases? Why don't we just use Excel everywhere? What's special about databases? Excel, you can hold data in Excel spreadsheets.
It looks nicer.
Yeah, Excel is easier to use. Access organizes it. Remember, suppose you're listing, like we're doing in our little example program, we have books, customers, and representatives. Organizing that data, especially if I have thousands of customers and hundreds of representatives and millions of books, that gets a little cumbersome to handle in Excel. Sorting things, finding a particular book. With databases, it makes searching through and sorting huge amounts of data very efficient. Like when you go to Google and you search for one term and you get 5 million results in about half a second, that's because they're using databases to search through vast amounts of data and get the relevant results. Databases run the internet. They are the holders of the data of the internet, and they're come in a variety of forms. Access just gets you familiar with that and will put you a step up of the average person that has no clue about Access. I know you're going to forget a lot of what you've learned in Access, but knowing that the general composition of databases with tables as their foundation will help you understand when those geeks talk about databases or where they want to charge you lots of money for databases. You can say, wait a minute, I think Access could do that, and they'll look at you like you're a genius. Now let's get Access going. And go back to our AC1, and while that's popping up, I'll go to my recent, there's my Manning AC1, and I will also bring up the page in the book. We're filling in our table now that we have created our book rep table. And I think where we stopped was entering the information for those tables. So I'm bringing up the book here. When I have this interface, not that interface, that's the complicated one. If you want to learn about that, you're welcome to learn about Microsoft SQL Manager Studio. But Access, if you open a database that has a table in it, to see what's in it, just double click over here in the navigation bar and it will open that table and show you the data that's in there. I can adjust my columns and I can put my other entry in for the next book rep. And I'll bring up the book to get us the information that's supposed to go in there. Here's where we are. Here's the people we're entering in our table. Let's zoom in on that. Those are the people we're entering. We're entering Perez, Melina Perez. Book rep number 42. And I can just start entering on the row with this asterisk that says, okay, this is an empty row. Once I start typing 42, it sees, oh, you're entering a new person. And remember how we set the limits, the field size on some of these? If I go to state and try to type more than 2 letters, it doesn't let me. Even if I enter the wrong letters, though, it doesn't do a check that it is a valid state. So I have to carefully enter a valid 2-letter state. In more complex entries, they will actually only allow you to enter valid states. It'll only let you choose from an existing list. Start date 5/14/12, and then a bonus rate of 20. Question over here?
Is there any way to make that a little bigger? I can't see that.
Let me check that. 231.5.
Is that that's the remote operation?
Yeah. Oops. Add it. Accidentally got a $sign in there. There we go. All right. I'm going to see if I can adjust my font size here. Let's go to...
There's no way to zoom in, right?
No, not with Access. But I can go to... I'm going to see if I can go to my options. And let's look at...
I see it on the home. You could, or this I have the option to change it.
In the table itself?
Yeah.
Does it
Table and then.
does it increase in size? I've never done it that way. Let's try that.
I don't know. Let's find out.
Let's see.
Yes.
There we go. Okay. I thought it was some hidden option. I'd never tried messing at that level. Thanks, Jared. All right. So I'm going to decrease it just a little bit. It looks like when you change one cell, it changes them all. Is that a little more readable for you?
Yes, thank you.
And it's not going to ask me, do I want to, well, actually, it will ask me, since I just adjusted the column width, it will say, do you want to save changes to the structure or to the layout? If you actually are only entering data, there is no, oh, do I save this? It's automatically saving it in your database. It does let you undo. And remember in our design, we made one of these the primary key. Watch what happens. I'm just going to enter some data here without entering a value there. And if I try to go to another record or hit enter, oh, it should give me an error. There we go. You must enter a value in the book rep table rep number field. If I try to enter a record without something in that key, that primary key field, it's going to continue give me an error saying, wait a minute, you can't leave until you enter something here. I can undo with Control-Z and cancel entering a new record. With Access, one of the drawbacks of Access is if you do something wrong, sometimes the error messages are completely meaningless and confusing. And that's just the way Access is, and that's why it's not so friendly. But we'll try to help you through that. And some of the error messages, you can kind of guess what went wrong. Okay, so everyone have that data in there? Now, remember with databases, since this is going to be used relating to our customers, the only thing our customer table knows about in the relationship is their book rep number is 42. So think about now in a business where you have multiple customers, and many of them have Melina Perez as their book representative. In an Excel table, you might have Melina's complete name and address on every row where they're referring to her. But that's a waste of data. It's called redundancy. I do not want to, if Melina ever changes her address, I don't want to have to change it in 1,000 places. With databases, I save this customer representative's name and all the detailed information in one place, and whenever I refer to that book representative from another table, I refer to her as the book rep number 42. That's called the relationship between the two tables. And we'll be coming back to that. That's another fundamental concept with databases, relationships between tables. So let's go on then in our book, see what they want us to do next. And where's my book? Here we go. So we have our information in our book, in our table. We've filled in 2 book representatives. And now we're going on to the next table. So we're filling it in. We can always edit the data that's there, just like very much like an Excel spreadsheet. And then I can close the table. And they have you close it and reopen it. Don't worry about that. We've already done that since the last time. So there's the data. Uh-oh, we have 2 more book reps we're going to add to our table. So I can enter this information now. And let me stretch that to zoom in here. We're going to add 2 more people that have joined the team. Yes?
What would you change the bonus rate?
Click on it and start typing. Weird. Go ahead and close it and reopen it. Sometimes when Access goes wacko or things don't work as you expect, save it as customers rep table. So it's not even letting you save the table. When you opened it, did you say enable? Oh, go ahead and close it and reopen it.
Let me see that.
Last name, AC1. Now click enable content when you open it. I forgot about that since I haven't been seeing that. Yeah, you have it open. So you open Access. So you have your Access icon. See that enable content? Always click enable. Go to design view. Or let's go ahead and save this table. See if it'll let you save the table. Looks like it's already. Go ahead and go to design view. Upper left triangle. Triangle and upper left. Underneath file. See that little triangle thing. And your bonus rate is a number. Click on that. I see you haven't edited the way we were supposed to. Remember the field links and everything? Okay, go down to bonus rate. Click on the number field. And go down below, see the default value is 0. And that's supposed to be a single. Change that to a single down below. Down below. It's from a field size down in properties. See where it says field size? Change that. But you can use the selection. On the right side of that big row, see the selection arrow. Change that to single. And decimal places, 2. Okay. Now we need to go. You need to fix all your settings that we did. We did all this. Let me go back to this. We have a table of all the settings. I will just jump to that table. Right here. Remember this table? Go through your table. You need to make all your settings for every field. Go to the very first one. The very first one, the BR number. Okay, and see the field size down below? It's already a short text. Go back to datasheet view. Let's do it like we did in datasheet view. Go to datasheet view. Upper left, the little datasheet icon. Upper left. Up, click, down. There's a datasheet. Just click on the box. That's all you got to do. Datasheet. Yes. Okay. Click in the column and go to click the Fields tab on the top and see field size there. And what should it be? Do you have a book? Okay. Go to the next one. Next column, last name column. Next one's 20. Stage should be 2. Postal code should be 5. You made it a general number. That was not supposed to be a general number. That was a short text. Because we're going to allow Canadian postcodes. So under formats, you're in the right place. Good, right? Format. No. Yeah, make that short text. Oh, sorry, the data type up above, sorry. Short text. And make that a field size of 5. Start date is date time. Looks like you got that one right. Salary, currency, you got that one. And bonus rate is, we've got that one figured out. Okay, now it'll let you put in the changes you need. Okay, so after reviewing that, and that's something that whenever you go to your database, and when I grade this first project, this is one of the first things I go to, that you were putting in your field sizes. That's very important with databases in constructing the holding of the data. So now we'll go back to where we were. So we have that. We've got those two in there. I'm going to go down to the additional 2. After they have us close the database, open it again. Just to show you when you open it, I'll zoom in on that. This shows me all the people I should have in my database now. That's kind of small though. Stupid Windows messing me up. Touch the edge of the screen and it explodes for you. Sometimes you don't want that. I'm looking for the page that shows me my 2 new entries. We'll use that one. This shows me the data I should have in my table. And a little tough to read on the page, but I'll type it in. We've got Number 65, Rogers, Tracy, 1827 Maple Avenue. Another person in Adelphia. And 7/1/2014. With these data access ones, you need to bring your book because there's a lot of details that you can see better in your book. And then one more book rep, and we'll go on to the next table. So 48. See, it doesn't matter what order we put them in. Access can sort them for us. I think that's Simpson Drive. Someone from New Jersey. And let me stretch that out just a bit here for you. I'll see if I can shrink it down to fit all the data in so you can see it all on one screen. And I'll shrink the bonus rate down a little bit. So there's the information in our tables now. Everyone got that in there? And if I can always adjust my columns to make it a little easier to view. I can always edit a field just by clicking on it. And I can always adjust the data that goes in there and the validation checks. We're going to come back, and I think we're going to put a validation check, and we can add fields, add columns, which are the fields are the column titles. You got it in there, Esther? Okay, ready to move on then. So this is our table. I'm going to save it because I've made some changes to the column widths. Control S to save it. And then go on to our next task. After entering some data, we can close that table, and we can view it, we can print it. But we're not going to worry about printing it. They show you how you can just have a table open and go to print preview if you ever wanted to print it. I'll go full screen here. So there's my table. If I ever wanted to print it, I can view, let's see, where's my print? I thought I could print. Yeah, Control P will go to print. I thought there was a print view, print preview. Well, Control P will let you print a table, but we don't care about printing it. If I wanted a copy of it, I would send it to the PDF printer and send that off to someone. I can close the table just by right-click closing, or the little X over here on the right. I can close that. And it should show up as book rep table. If it's not showing up as book rep table, right after it's closed, you have to close it before you can rename it. You can right-click, rename. It should not be called Table 1. It should be called Book Rep Table. You can always rename it, but only you cannot rename it if it's open. It doesn't like to rename things that are not open. Then you click off it, and it will have that name you gave it. So it should not be called Table 1, which is the default name, Book Rep Table. So there we have our table. There's the representatives. Now we're going to bring in more data, but rather than make you design a whole new table, we're going to import the data, saving you gobs of time. They have given us an Excel spreadsheet named, did they give us a name of it here? It's going to be called Access Customer Data. So we got to go find that customer data for Access Project 1. If you haven't found it already, it's over here on your eLearn page. You go to the eLearn page and go to the top underneath Data Files, way at the top, Student Data Files. Down in the Access section, AC1 project. Look at there, we've got customer data and an Excel spreadsheet. We're going to go ahead and save that. Just by, I think I can click it. I can open it in Excel, but I'm going to right-click, save it, save link as, and I'm going to save it to my cs101 folder. Save link as.
Oh, you want to save the link? Okay.
Save link as. We're going to save that Excel file. You could open it Excel and then from inside Excel do file save. That will also work. So you could just open it in Excel and then do a save. But the import is going to need to refer to a file. So we need to save the file to disk at some point. So rather than go through the open it in Excel first, I'm just going to do file save link as, and my save file is taking forever. I'm going to go ahead and close some of my other programs. Maybe they're slowing my poor little computer down here. My poor little PC is doing something that's slowing it down. Whenever I record, that's another load on it, and it slows it down even more. I might have to reboot. Somebody might be doing something in the other account on this PC. Anyway, once you save that, I'll show you what's going to happen while I'm waiting for my save to come up. What you'll do is you will go to the external data. Uh-oh, it's not letting my browser even work. And you're going to import external data from that Excel file that you're saving. And my poor little PC isn't letting me go any further until it saves that file. Are you able to save that file? Save that Excel file? And then you're going to do an import. Are you able to save it, Anthony?
Yeah. Where do you go to import it?
External data, and then do import, and then find that Excel file that you saved. And I am stuck. My file save stopped responding. It's like I crashed Firefox. Let's see if pausing record. All right, now that the data is saved, I then go to my Access External Data tab right there, and External Data Import from Excel. Now I browse to where I saved that file, and it's over there in my documents. Customer data. I'm going to import it into a new table, which is the default. I come here, I make sure it does have headings, so I'm going to click, if it's not checked already, first row does contain column headings. Then I do next, and as I import the data, it is telling me what it thinks the data type should be. So it's going to create the table as I import it. Very handy for me. So customer number, short text. Later on, I can go back and control the field length. It's only giving me a chance right now to adjust the data type. So I'll click on each column, data type. It usually comes out to be short text because it's guessing by what it sees in the data what data type it should be. I see city, short text, state, short text, good. Postal code, even then, it didn't guess that that's a number. It says, oh, yeah, I'm going to treat that like short text. Amount paid, currency, because it had dollar signs in there. Current due, returns, currency, and book rep number, short text as well. So we're good here with all our fields. So I don't have to change anything. Question?
Why does it say what the index mean for the index? Like in the field, like under field name, what's that index?
Oh, that means it's going to keep track of it as a special field. Eventually, we're going to make this a primary key, and which will automatically be indexed, but we don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
But by default, it's not indexing them. It has to do with efficient searching for things. So basically, what it guessed for the data types is correct. So we can just do next now.
Well, for postal code, mine had double selected, not short text.
Oh, really? Well, it should be short text. So change it to short text. If it's not showing, you can just change the data type after selecting that field. Just click on the top, a postal code in the gray, and then change the data type to short text.
For the contract hour and YTD, though, or year to date, business analyst number, would you change it to?
Are you looking at the same data?
I think so.
I don't have business analyst number. I've got customer number.
I got it from the same spot.
Is it called customer number or business analyst number? Did you download customer data in AC1?
Maybe I missed it. It was on the assignments page.
That may not be the right file. It's up in the data files for students. I didn't realize there was a link in the customer. Yes, file, right-click, save link as. That's why you're getting different data. I'm thinking, wait a minute, why is it you're showing up different? Okay, so it's customer data. Then I do, after getting all my data types, I click next, and I do not want access to add another field for me. It volunteers to add a primary key. We're going to not do that. We're going to let access choose my primary key. We want the customer number to be our primary key. So it's going to want to add, but we'd say, no, I want choose my primary key, customer number. Yes?
And the primary key is the thing that organizes it, like.
Well, the primary key is what Access uses to search for data and to
okay.
reference the data. And it does index that. And think of it this way, when I'm going to have, potentially millions of customers. And when another table says, I need customer number FSU23, because it's the primary key, Access has an algorithm called a hash table. It's able to find where that record is in milliseconds rather than doing a search for a customer number. It builds an index so it can find data very quickly. That's one of the powers of databases. They can find information very quickly once they know the reference to it, the primary key. I'm going to call the table customer, let's see, let's make sure we get the table right. I think it's called customer data. We want to get the table right. And that's where I have to go back, bring up the book here, make sure I get the name of that table just right. Everyone getting this data imported so far? Now it's just a matter of deciding what table. If you have the book, Katie, do you remember what it asked us to name that? Is it just customer?
Customer table.
Just customer table? Okay. Bring your books to class. You'll help out, especially when this poor computer slows down and I can't get that picture up there. So we'll call it customer table instead of customer data. Customer table. And remember, I can always rename it later if I don't have the name right, but it's nice to get it right the first time. I don't need it to remember this import, so I don't need to check. Now, I don't need the little wizard to save the steps. Now I finish. I don't need to save import steps, and close. And now if I double click my customer table, look at that, all that data is in there. Actually, we used to, in previous versions of this book, they made you enter all this data, and it's like, come on. entering data a few times, we have enough practice. We would spend a day just entering the data. So now we have a better progress. We can go a little further here because I want you to understand the fundamentals of being able to import data. And look at what all we can import from. We can import from another Access database, a database other than Access that could be out on the internet, anywhere on the network. I can connect to this thing called an ODBC database. I could have text that's saved from somewhere, some program that saved millions of data entries having to do with some study I'm doing. I could bring that all into the database. And we do have a database of the entire Bible. We can bring the text from the Bible in and actually have our own Bible database and search through the Bible and do some really complex analysis of Scripture using databases. And by the way, about every electronic Bible program you have, guess what that's holding the data for your Bible? It's in a database in that program. Okay, so we've imported that data, that Excel worksheet. We've set the data types for every field. And now we're going to modify that table a little bit to make it work a little better with our other tables. We're going to set some limits on the data sizes. So Anthony, just like you did with yours, you went back and adjusted your field sizes. We're going to do that with these. I'm going to put this table up here, and I will come back to our customer table, and one by one, we're going to select the column and adjust, adjust the different sizes. So I'm going to go to Customer column, and I'm going to go to the Fields tab, and see how the default was 255? I'm going to change that down to 5 because we don't want to waste space in our database. Even though we have a tiny database, we want to learn that we want to adjust our field sizes. I go to the customer name. Oh, and here's one of those error messages that it pays to pay attention the first time. What this means is I'm resizing this field, and it's telling me if I did have anything longer than 5 characters, it's going to throw them away. So it's being nice and warning you because it is not undoable. You cannot undo this. So whenever anyone's working on a real database for a company, they always will do a backup first. So if you're working with a company and you know they're using a database, someone says, hey, we're going to update the database with something. First question you should ask is, do you have a backup before you do this, folks? Always have a backup because many things you do to a database you cannot undo unless you restore a backup. So click on Customer, set the field size to 5 by clicking Fields and then Field Size. Customer name, change that field size to 30. Click the street, and you get the warning every time. Click the street, and the field size there is going to be 20. City, field size of 20. State, field size of 2. And answering yes each time. Postal code, field size of 5. And I don't think the others have a field size to worry about. Let's see here. The only one we go down to is book rep number. These are all currency, which we're good with currency on all those. Now it comes to be this one, as small as it is a very important field. Field size, the book rep number, field size should be 2. But the most important thing about this book rep number field is this is our reference to the other table. So this has to be the exact same data type as it is in the other table. So just to check here, let's make sure book rep table, if I open it and I look at book rep number, I see that yes, it is short text. Because this is the relationship between the two tables. The customer number, the customer table relates to the book rep table in this column. When it's referring to a book rep, it's referring to book rep 53, and in the book rep table, I see 53 matches Robert Chin. If I'm referring to book rep number 99, I go to the book rep table and I see, wait a minute, there is no book rep number 99. I have a customer that thinks he has a book rep, but when they come to ask for customer service, they are sent to an email or a phone number or email that does not exist, and that's going to be a very unhappy customer. We lose all their business because we gave them an non-existing book rep number. Now, this in a business, that's not a horrible thing. But imagine now keeping track of your campers at your little camp, and you've referenced a non-existing counselor for that camper. And when it comes time to the next day, you come to the breakfast, that camper is going to be missing because they did not have a counselor and they got lost in the woods. So you may be saving a life by having the proper relationships and preserve what they call referential integrity. I refer to a book rep that does indeed exist. That's integrity of our databases between the two tables. So now we have the structure changed. I better do a save of my book rep table, or sorry, my customer table, saving those changes, Control S, saving all those changes to my field sizes. Now I can go on and start doing fancier things with my database. And we'll end right there. We'll come back next time and start relating, or we'll explore a few more things in our database having to do with reports and forms, the basic things that we can do with Access. Then we'll go on to the little hands-on project in the back. Have a great day. Sorry about my little snafu with my browsers. Slowed us down a little bit.